bum bum bum, bum bum bum, bum bum bum, bum bum ba-dum, bum bum bum, bum 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 ba-da-da-dum, bum 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 ba-da-dum. Isn't that great music? My brother's music. It's his original piece, and it's him playing, and it's his production. He puts the whole thing together. It's amazing. He does a lot of great musical pieces. Bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum dun 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 but dun 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 bum ba-da-da. I'm not trying that again. Hi, Bob and Deb Dunbar. Hello, my friends from Western Australia. That's Tara. I see you every Ajax, Ontario. Hi, Rona. Nice to see everyone. Tonight we are on Facebook, X, oh yes, X, Rumble, YouTube, and of course Mighties, Joett's Mighty members. And we're adding more. We're getting to more places. It's wonderful to be in many places at once because we can get the word out faster and harder and with more strength and with more organically. Yeah, hi from sizzling Texas. I saw that, Lisa. Somebody just wrote and said 103 degrees in Texas. I'm so sorry, folks. I know it's really off. It's awful in Florida, too. It's very hot in the south. Francine says, Joette, you know we're all dumb with you. It's great to see you all. Yes, my friends, so nice to be here tonight. Thank you for teaching all of us so much. We live you. I live you too, Martine. So great. Good day from Washington. Andy, great to see you all. Hi, my friends from Maine. And Chicopee, Massachusetts. Such a great name. Somebody had just come in and said Chicopee. 112 degrees in Texas. Wow. Holy cow. Very hot, very hot. Okay, my friends. We've got stuff to talk about, haven't we? What we've got to talk about tonight is the problem with addictions. And there are many. And each Monday we're going to go to another addiction. So last time we went to addiction from vaping. And you're going to see some unifying threads here over and over and over. And what I want to point out to you is that the unifying threads can be that one medicine, let's use Nux Vomica for example, one medicine is a very good medicine for many kinds of addictions. Why is that? Well, one of the reasons that would make the most sense to me is that the symptoms are similar. So when someone has an addiction to vaping and by trying to get off they get irritable, and they've been using a substance, those are two very big keynotes for Nux Vomica. If it's if there's also any nausea, there's another one. Any problems with sleeping, there's another keynote for the medicine, Nux Vomica. And so how often might we see this in addictions? My friends, we will see it frequently. And I would love to say, okay, all addictions, Nux Vomica, 200C, call it a day, see you around. No, it's not quite that simple, although it can be. But what I'm going to try to teach you to do, not only tonight but other times, is to resist the desire to use the medicine, to use a medicine just because you know it. That should not be your rationale. Just because you know it does not mean that you should be using it. If you don't know, I'm trying to think of another, tobacco, the homeopathic medicine tobacco. But you do know Nux Vomica, and both of them are to be considered for vaping or whatever, cigarette smoking, whatever it might be, chewing tobacco. Don't choose Nux Vomica because you know it. What your job is, my friends, is to be your devil's advocate. What I want you to do is say, I know it could be Nux vomica, but what else could it be? How can I prove to myself that it's not Nux vomica? So that when I finally settle on that medicine, whether it's Nux vomica or not, I know that I've put my best effort. I've argued with myself. I've brought up the other side of the argument. Very important thing to do, my friends. If you want to see good results, not just for this, but for any. The only acceptable addiction is to homeopathy. And Angela, my dear, you are so right, because boy, aren't we addicted to this? We can't, it's as I always say, homeopathy is intellectually delicious because it gets who we are as humans, who want to help our families, our friends, our pets, our livestock, those around us. Then we start thinking about how do we do that? And it is digging into the repertory. Here it is. Here it stands, my repertory. And I use Robin Murphy's. Now, for those of you who are new, I'll show you the cover. And you can see some of my notes here as well. Oh, sorry. Is there yes, Meta Repertory. It's backwards for me. Meta Repertory, 4th edition. If you have the 3rd edition, that works pretty darn well as also, but I use the 4th edition. I use both, actually, to be honest. Is this the 4th edition? Alrighty. So what I want to tell you is that you're going to see these unifying threads. You're going to see Nux vomica time and again. I'm going to put this file away. That was from last week. I do everything, I'm sorry, excuse me. It's my age. These are my notes. Oh, yes. These are my notes. These are my notes for tonight. Oh, yes. This is how I do it, my friends. This is how I do it. This is how I work out what I'm going to talk to you about. I could put it on Word, and I do use Word, but sometimes there's nothing like writing it all out. So that's what I've done. Tonight we're going to be talking about screen time. Now, I would love to say that in this repertory, there's a rubric under the mind section, which is in the beginning, for screen time. And there isn't one. And before I had this repertory, before Robin Murphy put his together, I was using the synthesis. There were many different repertories that I've used through the years. My first repertory was Kent's repertory. Antiquated, still has a lot of value in homeopathy, but an antiquated repertory because there are no common everyday words. The nomenclature has changed since Kent wrote that. It's been, I don't know, 20, 50, 80 years, not 20, 80 years since he wrote that. You're certainly not going to find addiction to screen time, yet you will also not find it here as well. So what do we do? If we can't find the etiology, the cause of the problem, then what do we do? Well, let's look at it from this point of view. Is the screen time the disease? Is it called screen time disease? How is this person presenting? So let's say it's a teenage boy, or you. It's easy to get addicted to screens. I've been addicted myself. So is it the screen time? Is that the name of the disease? No, that's how it's connected to the person's suffering. But what is happening? Well, if you tell your teenager you get 1 hour of screen time, which would never be enough for a teenager, or anyone these days pretty much, and it's time to get off, you say you can do it from 6 until 7, and it's now 7 o'clock, what happens? How does he react? How do you react when someone takes it away from you? You feel angry? Does the anger become rage? It does not mean obsessing with an activity. Yes, SoCal gal, yes, you bet. Could it be, is there a meltdown? Meltdown is another way of saying meltdown. You're not going to find meltdown in here either, but you will find rage. You will find tantrums. You will find anger. No doubt about it. Is the person moody until they can get back on again, or for the rest of the evening? Do they have insomnia? They can't sleep without that computer going. I've actually found that about myself from time to time. I have to really work at not bringing that computer to bed. Poor focus. Does the person suffer from poor focus? Are they unable to focus in on their schoolwork or what they need to accomplish? In other words, do they have attention deficit disorder, for example? Do they have depression? These are the conditions, these are the symptoms. If they're associated with screen time, and you can't make an assumption, my friends, you really want to be certain. You want to be certain that the screen time is the addiction, because every time the screen time is ended, or it's incomplete, they can't finish what they were doing, and then these symptoms follow, then by all means you've got a case. So depression. How about OCD? Depression. Let's focus on that. I skimmed over it too quickly. Depression. From not being able to watch what they want to watch, for them not being able to play the game, for them not to be able to go on social media. Depression, yes, indeed. Cravings, a craving that is beyond even a food craving. Or OCD, all they can think about, all they can talk about, all they want to do is play those online games or go to social media. OCD. Are they quarrelsome? Are they violently quarrelsome? Are they bargaining? Will they bargain with you? Okay, look, Mom, I promise, I'll only do another hour. If I just do another hour, then we can work it out. Now look, that's perfectly normal to do something like that. But if it's constant bargaining, every time, stop. The mom wants to say, stop, no more. I don't want to hear any more about this. Get outside and go climb a tree. Get outside, find some kids to play basketball with. Get out in front of the hoop on the garage and start throwing some balls. What if the person starts acting this out in their sleep? And maybe you don't know that it's absolutely related to this, but around the time that they're finding that they must have that screen time, that they're now starting to have sleepwalking, sleep talking. They actually get up out of bed and they walk around. Or they start talking and they're talking a great deal. Or there are nightmares. Or, as I said, they can't sleep. They fall asleep, wake up. Fall asleep, wake up. If you put together a timeline and you can say that ever since this has become an issue in this person's life, that these are the symptoms that are arising, you've got yourself an argument well built. That's what we're looking for. Build your argument. Make it stand up in court. Your Honor, the reason I chose this rubric from this repertory is because he is sleepwalking, and he's been sleepwalking ever since we got him that phone 2 years ago. That's when it started. Shortly after that's when. Not only that, Your Honor, he's also waking up in the night and not able to get back to sleep. And in between when he's sleeping, he's sleepwalking. There we go. We're building our case. Yes. Please be sure to like, comment, and especially share this video, my friends. I never say that. I don't think to promote this, but I think it is important that you do promote this. I think this can help a lot of people. So please, yes, like, comment, and especially share this with those who are having difficulty with this. My grandson lives on his computer. He's 27 years old, and he's not left his room in over a year. He is unemployed and totally shut down with his family. His mother died in December, I'm so sorry, last year, and has gotten even more withdrawn. You bet. Now, let me also say, we're going to go through these tonight. We have 15 minutes to do this, 16 minutes. But I also urge you to go to Joette's Learning Center, should more information be needed, and and then scroll down until on the screen, yes, indeed, on the screen. Scroll down and go down to the course called Mindful Homeopathy. mindful because it's all about how we use homeopathy for psychological and emotional conditions. What are the medicines specifically? How do we choose? How do we know? And don't just scroll ahead when you get to it. Don't scroll ahead me, like an old tape player. Don't do that. Start at the beginning. Anytime you get any one of my online courses that you own, once you purchase it, you get the program and you watch the whole thing. You can take notes. Now, take it over again a second time. Watch the whole program again. The entire course again. Second time. Third time. Watch it all over again and then go a fourth time because I guarantee you there's so much in-depth information you're going to miss something that's really going to be meaningful and you don't realize it. We don't know what we don't know. Susan says, stramonium for temper tantrums and anger. Yes, let's get into it. That's the number one. Let's go to that. Anger, meltdowns, when time is up, when there is a meltdown, and if they get violent or their words are violent or they kick the door, they slam the door. And it's not just one time, but a few times. And it also doesn't have to be every time. But when we see a propensity for anger as a result of anything, as a result of not getting his way. Or let's try to focus on the possibility that it's happening because he or she is being told no more screen time. Done. We're finished. It is often stramonium. And the reason I pronounce it that way, my friends, is because I want you to remember these medicines. I realize for those who are new, you don't have exposure to these names. They're Latin and they're chef kiss gorgeous. Stramonium. I want you to remember this medicine. It is excellent for anger, meltdowns, breaking things. We could also use it for those nightmares. The nightmares are violent. The sleeplessness is intense. The person can't fall asleep. The person does not need to be violent in order for stramonium to be a good medicine, but if there is there, then we're certainly going to consider that strongly. And I also use stramonium for simple insomnia for many people. And there are many medicines we can use for insomnia. Stramonium is one of them. And a second one, which is also incredible for not only sleeplessness, that whereas the person falls asleep and then wakes up. And they fall asleep and then they wake up. And they fall asleep and they wake up. Just like if you'd had too much coffee. Just like if you'd had too much chocolate or tea. Waking up frequently through the night is Coffea 200. That is the medicine. Coffea 200. And Coffea 200 is also an excellent medicine for the central nervous system that is off. It's also wonderful for when someone has an addiction. Stramonium is good for when someone has an addiction. Coffea cruda, Coffea 200. Coffea cruda is the full name. You bet. Thank you. Okay. Someone's asking about a 7-year-old. I'm going to tell you, my friends, it really doesn't matter how old the person is. If it's a camel, a dog, a gerbil, a child, a middle-aged woman, an old man, the medicines are the same as long as they fit the criteria, which is the symptoms and or the condition. Okay, now let's talk about this. Might relate to the woman whose grandson is in the house. And I urge that particular person, I didn't get your name, I'm sorry, mindful homeopathy, but OCD, depression, having an addiction, often for a man, you all are going to start coming up with the remedy. You know this medicine. Specifically for a man, can be used for a woman too, but it's a little more on the male side. Grief. Hello, grief. Lost his mother. Hello, grief. Tell me, my friends. Thank you, Barb. Thank you very much. Aurum metallicum. Leanne, aurum metallicum. SoCal gal, aurum metallicum. You bet. Jennifer, Melissa, Jersey. Yes. Lori. Yes. Mia. Absolutely. Aurum metallicum. Now, we're not going to use aurum metallicum because there's an addiction to screen time necessarily, but because what has happened to someone who has lost a parent, who is stuck in a room, depressed, over-focused, too focused. Aurum metallicum. Thank you very much. Nice job, my friends. Could Ignatia be used? Asks Susan, and Carol also has Ignatia written there. I like Ignatia certainly for grief, but for a man who is stuck in a room. I've told the story about when my father passed away. Ignatia helped for about 5 hours. Next day I took aurum. It didn't quite do it, but once I took coffea and I had aurum, both of them. I used both, not at the same moment, separated them by about 12 hours. I snapped out of the extreme grief. Aurum metallicum. I saw a case at the Banerjee Homeopathic Research Foundation when I was there for those years. It was a case of a mother and a father. They were probably in their 50s, and their son, the son did not come into the appointment. Their son was presently, as they came into the office, their son was on the sofa. He had been on the sofa for weeks. He was a perfectly capable young man, but he had no desire to work. Did he tell them he was depressed? No, he never said that. You don't have to have someone say, I'm depressed. But that is a depression of sorts, and it is plaguing, also, let me also say, it's plaguing our young men, not just in the U.S., but in India too. I'm sorry, my friends. It's a woman's world today. It is not a man's world. I disagree with those women who are still back in the early 60s and 70s. Okay, we got our freedom. Now we're kind of overplayed our game here. And now the men are suffering. I think the men are suffering terribly. And I find that aurum metallicum was the medicine that my dear friend who passed, Dr. Pradeep Banerjee, told the parents to give to their son, a 200C, aurum metallicum, 200C every other day. And they reported back months later, he's out. He's off the couch, and he's sort of looking for a job. Not done yet. Sometimes we see bam, and it's done. But other times it takes a little time. Okay. That bargaining behavior. I see one of the main medicines for that is Nux vomica. So we see Nux vomica here tonight. We see stramonium. We see aurum metallicum. These are the biggest medicines. Could we consider hyoscyamus for poor focus? We could. We could use that hyoscyamus for poor focus, ADD. Yes, that's in there. Make sure it's there. Make sure that's part of the case, my friends. Don't make any assumptions. Do not say, it kind of feels like it might be. No. Line up your argument. Make sure it holds up in rubrics court. But with that sleepwalking and sleep talking, that's when I would go indeed to hyoscyamus, HYOS. CYAMOS, I think. I'm spelling it off the top of my head. Aurum metallicum should not be administered too often. I agree. It should be every other day or every third day. Often it's best every third day, my friends. You're absolutely right. Should not be twice a day. Should not be once a day. It should be broken up by a few days. Every other day, every third day. In fact, for those of you who are new to this, I would recommend you use it every third day. Give it some time. Be patient. Tincture of time, my friends. Don't expect things to work like that. Sometimes they do, but allow the medicine to gently nudge the person. And read the Materia Medica. Yes, thank you, Leanne. Yes, read your Materia Medica. Your Materia Medica. This is my Materia Medica, should you be interested. We have it on our website. It's a kind of a desktop reference. It's a quick reference. It's something that should you should you be interested in something like this before you get into a more in-depth materia medica, this is not a bad place to start. A materia medica, my subtitle is Practical Homeopathy for Busy Families. Thank you, Melissa. Hyoscyamus niger, absolutely. And there's a lot of jealousy with that as well. Now, let's recap, okay? Anger. I think of stramonium, I think of nux vomica. Insomnia, I think of nux vomica, stramonium, coffea. I think of poor focus. I'm looking at hyoscyamus is one of our biggest. Coffea also, coffea. Depression, aurum metallicum and coffea, both very, very important remedies. Cravings, too, my friends. I didn't talk about that. Nux vomica has cravings. It has cravings for smoke, cravings for alcohol, cravings for drugs, cravings for recreational drugs, that's marijuana, etc. Nux vomica is all about cravings. So if this person is so myopic about the screen time and they're smoking weed, this might be the medicine. So you want to put it together. Now, what potency do we use? For all of these, I would generally use a 200C, and I would use it infrequently, every other day. Coffea could be twice a day perhaps, but aurum is every 3 days, sometimes every other day. Stramonium, 200, maybe every other day. Especially for those of you who are new, open it up. And then what I want you to do, for those who are new, nux vomica as well, 200. For those who are new, I want you to administer the medicine or take the medicine, wherever you go with that, observe after. Observe, observe, observe. What are you observing? We're looking for 3 magic markers, my friends. These are writer-downers. I talk about them most every week, but I'm going to say it again. Less intensity to the symptom. That's what we want to observe after the medicine has been administered. Less intensity to the symptom. Whatever the symptom is. Nausea, anger, sleeplessness, OCD, whatever it might be. Less intensity. Number 2, lasting for a shorter period of time. Instead of it being a screaming 8 out of a scale of 1 to 10, now it's a 5. Lasting a shorter period of time. What used to be all day long is now only in the mornings or only for an hour at night. Lasting for a shorter period of time. 3rd magic marker, a larger space between each episode. What used to be every day is now every other day. This is what you're going to be looking for after the medicine has been administered. There are rules in homeopathy. There are rules. Yes, hyoscyamus can be used in a 200, but I do often use it in a 6. It can be. One other thing I want to leave you with screen time. That is not really an addiction, but it is the consequence of an addiction, and that is the eyes get tired. Staring at a screen all day, and I'll be honest with you, my friends, I stare at a screen all day long. I get up, walk around every hour or so. I walk outside. I walk barefoot in the summer, walk out on the grass, try to get to the beach, get outside as much as I possibly can, take a book outside, sit in the sun, have my lunch with my husband outside, and try to get out as much as possible. But to be honest, I'm in front of a screen all day long. And there are times when my eyes get tired. What would I use? Ruta graveolens. Ruta, R-U-T-A. Ruta grav or graveolens. 6. That's used twice a day. That's used. Now, people are asking, what about other addictions, like nail biting, etc.? We're going to be talking about more. We will be talking about more addictions. And I ask you again to please like, share, comment, subscribe on my computer now, says Leanne. Yes. And then I'll leave you with one really fun thing just before we were ready to go on tonight to set up the music and the little video footage that you're watching before we start these events on Monday nights. My husband said, I don't think I can do it. I don't feel well. I mean, I really don't feel well. I mean, I may spend time in the bathroom. I feel as though I feel very, very nauseous. I mean, he said, no, I'm really nauseous. Can you do this yourself? And I can, but I'd rather not because I'm still looking at my notes, checking things out. And I said, honey, just take Ipecac. Just take Ipecac. Well, I went into the other room, got my glass of water, got myself all settled, found my glasses, and by the time I got back, he said, gone. The nausea is gone, said he. Thank you, honey, he said. You want to remain relevant in your life, in your family's life, in your neighborhood, in your church, in your homeschool group, as you age, my friends? How to stay relevant? Gather this knowledge and be truly good at it. Be the best you can possibly be. My friends, it's about information. Learn how to use this information. It's not about what we did in college. Sorry. It's about this information that gives us the strength and the resiliency to be able to handle the world in which we reside. God bless you all. Mwah. See you next week. More of the same. See you then. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. It's elementary with arnica head, arsenic of fed, spigelia slither, orms from wither, no more infirm. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Bellaso red and arnica head, drosera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cupim to rigid, and crude itches, calicum, bonicum, let it melt on your gum, bovies to wheat are some great ways to treat ya. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. It's elementary with arnica head, arsenic of fed, spigelia slither, orms from wither, no more infirm. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Bellaso red and arnica head, drosera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cupim to rigid, and crude itches, calicum, bonicum, let it melt on your gum, bovies to wheat are some great ways to treat ya. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. It's elementary with arnica head, arsenic of fed, spigelia slither, orms from wither, no more infirm. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Belisol red and arnica hydrocera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, calicum, bonicum, let it melt on your gum, bovis to wheat are some great ways to treat ya. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. Athusinodaria, elementary with arnica head, arsenicum fed, spigelia slither, orms from wither, no more infirm. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Belisol red and arnica hydrocera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, calicum, bonicum, let it melt on your gum, bovis to wheat are some great ways to treat ya. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies.